What's going on, everyone? It's Rich Haywood here. Going on with Ed, Retro Kill 9. What's going on?
Richard Kill Dash 9! I had to do that for Ian Hobbies. Sorry.
What's up? What's up?
Sorry.
So, yeah, so it's an impromptu thing. We might be just screaming into the void. Who knows? It's all good. But we'll see. We'll see here. We got some minor topics to talk about real quick, and then I'm gonna jump in because I got to get some horns.
Yeah.
Some Golden Axe Warrior. I'm actually going to be looking at maybe going all over the map trying to find the cheap stores so I can get the things I need on the cheap so I can get back up to Dungeon 4. But before that, we're going to talk a little bit, wrap a little bit about some stuff, and then we'll just play and chat, right?
Yes.
That's where we're at. So I'm going to let you take it away. In the meantime, I'm going to actually grab a link to this very thing and then throw it out there to see if we can get somebody to hang out with us, and hang in and chat.
Ooh.
All right, cool. So take it away.
Sounds good. All right, so we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna jump in a moment, as Rich said, but gotta go ahead and be serious for a moment. I know a lot of you out there, you watch our channels, we get goofy and have fun, but just want to have a quiet, just a serious moment. I'm sure all of y'all are aware of what happened to may know him as OED Pete, Classy Gaming Pete, and now just Pete, or formerly known as Pete. And just a few things just didn't sit well with me. It's an unfortunate situation where not only did he have to take a break and had to delete his channel because of just nasty people out there, and just want to take this time just a reminder just to reflect that while we do have fun making these videos, as YouTubers are people too. Put that in a hashtag or whatever, and
yep.
All we ask, you can disagree with us. You don't have to like our content. You don't even have to like us, but it's just when there's a line that's crossed. We're doing this all for fun. We just want to have fun. Respect both ways. That's kind of that's all. That's what we ask. Luckily, Pete will still be there on Evercast and whatnot. So that's all good, but just a reminder, everyone to be respectful, have fun, be engaging. There's the people behind it. There's times we take away from life and family and all that. We do enjoy it, but we do put in our effort and our all, and it's that's all. just had to kind of just get that out of my system. Anything you want to add to that, Rich?
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things that I always thought when I started doing this, and even before I knew anyone in the retro gaming community, we've been doing this for a long time. Me, my brother-in-laws, and my wife. We've been on this platform for a really long time, doing all sorts of stuff that for a long time had nothing to do necessarily with retro games, just gaming in general, right? And interacting with the community has been pretty awesome for the most part. And obviously there's some things that go on, and there's some people that are not amazing, but it's just interesting to see that there's these lines that get crossed, and it's hard to realize what to do in those moments, and everybody reacts to them differently. But there's the one line that I agree with everybody that should agree with this, is the one line is the four walls, right? When people come into the four walls of your actual home or your family or you personally at a level that is above and beyond, it's just not cool anymore, right? And it just amazes me that there's people out there that would take the time and effort to invade somebody's privacy and life like that. And it bothers me. It really does. It really bugs me. And I just hope that people could understand that, maybe take a step back and look at that, look at what's happening, and just say, hey, look, why don't we just come all the way back and get back to what we were trying to do in the first place? Here in the retro gaming community, all we're doing is picking up hunks of plastic, plugging them into things, and playing to try to have fun. And that's what it should be. Period. Full stop. Doesn't matter what it is. You don't like it, that's fine. You don't want to do whatever. You got some kind of problem with a company that makes a thing, whatever. That's whatever. But for the people that are there, for the people that want to play and want to put themselves out there to share with that, it's just as simple as, if you don't like that, you don't like what you're seeing on the screen, just be out. That's it. That's all. There's no need for the back and forth and all that stuff. That's all I'm saying. And I guess maybe that's the end of my soapbox minute or whatever, because it just bugs me. It just bugs me. Just be nice people, right? That's all we ask.
Oh, and the one other interesting thing too that I wanted to say, that like, just if it hadn't been for Pete, or hadn't been to Evercast, like, I never would have found Rick. Probably never would have found Rich's YouTube channel. Never would have been on that. I probably wouldn't even have a YouTube channel myself.
Yeah, and full disclosure, if it wasn't for Pete and Chris Call, the Atari Creep, if it wasn't for him, for those two people, I wouldn't be doing the retro gaming stuff. Because, to be honest, I was too boxed in myself to even do anything in front of a camera. And I can remember myself, 3 years ago, just sitting there, trying over and over to start, and then deleting video after video after video after. I was like, no, it's not it. It's not it. Until finally one day, I'm in chats, I'm in other places, and people are like, you know what? Just do it. Just do it. And the two people that were there were the Atari Creep and Pete. And they just kept saying, just do it. Just literally turn on the camera and do it. Who cares? You're gonna look like a fool anyway. You might as well do it now and get it out of the way, and then you're gonna get better. And then you get to do more and more and more. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here doing this.
That's true,
and what an amazing thing it was, right? What an amazing thing it was.
Well, and then also I should add too that when I found watching, on Evercade, watching his videos, your videos, and then like I stumbled upon Crow, and then his video, his videos, and between like the three of you were like the positive force that actually got me more interested in Evercade, because there were just a lot of negative things. And then I think, and I've talked about this before real quick, and then we'll get into the fun stuff that all people know. But after watching some episodes of Evercast, I sent Pete, I don't know, it was like a huge page. It was like a page-long email kind of like explaining my love for retro and all that. And just kind of took a chance. And I think I just said, like, I think we should just like do something together, make a video. And then he's like, hey, do you want to be on Evercast? I'll let Richard know. Just kind of like that. It was like he just like trusted me, and then it just went from there. So it was pretty cool. And then
And that is Pete in a nutshell. He just wanted to hang out and have fun with people playing games on the internet. That's it.
Yeah.
And talk about cool stuff. Like, it just, again, try not to drag out the soapbox moment, but it's still at the same time. It's just like, come on, man, just be chill, people. Just be chill. And here we go. We got some people hanging out. We got Ian, nail on the head right there. Pete's the reason we're connected now. It's right. It's absolutely right. Maggle, it's pretty sad. I hope he's okay. I you know what? It's going to be up to him. As to what he wants to do, and if he wants to do that eventually, then you know what? Open arms, right? Always open doors for that. But yeah, he's all right. He did what he needed to do early enough where he knew that if things went any further, it might not have been amazing. But he did what he needed to do to make sure that it was okay for him and his. And you know what? I respect that. Yeah, I respect that. And also, hey, by the way, what's up? What's up, Ian?
Are you? Did you see my first one, Ian? If you didn't, I'll do a second one just for you. But if you did, let me know down there in the chat. But no, I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to and he's ready, if he becomes a guest on Karg.
Yeah, I mean, again, open doors, right? And for me, it'd be like, why would I ever close that door? Right?
Yeah,
seriously, seriously. because if it wasn't for him opening the door to me, then again, wouldn't even be here. Oh, you didn't catch it.
All right. You know, this is a great segue. I think we're done with this. We'll do it.
Yes.
Oh, Rachel killed the steed. And let's go ahead. Let's play some Master System.
That's it. Let's get in. Let's get into this, right? All right. So you've got an impromptu Master System Monday coming and invading Karg right now. Let's do it. All right. There I am in the box. So right now where I am in the game, let me see if I can get the audio up a little more, because I killed it for the Evercast. Uh-oh. My audio might be done. I don't know. OBS was being weird today.
Man.
Let me go default. There we go. I don't know. I've got audio coming through, but it's just not coming through on my I guess it's just not coming through on my end.
That's weird. It was working earlier.
That's okay. That's fine. If it comes through later, then that's okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, when last we left the adventures of one Link T, we were here in, what is it, F5 over in the desert, and we're looking for some horns. And the reason why is because we got to buy some stuff at the shop right here. This guy's got a golden apple and some magic oil. Now, the golden apple will get you full on life just by, it's an item. You use it, you get full life. And then the magic oil, you use it, you can get full magic, right? Your magic bar gets full.
How many of those each can you carry? Is there like a max?
So we're going to find out, actually. And the reason we're going to find out is because I want to grind. I want to see if I can get 2 sets. Now, in the inventory, you've got you've got enough slots, so I think I can get 2 apples and 2 magic oils as long as I'm not carrying other stuff. As long as this doesn't get full.
Do they each take up a whole slot for one?
So like a golden apple be here, maybe an apple here, magic oil, and then 1, 2, 3 more items I could carry. I think that's how that rolls, because the middle bar down here is, I'm pointing at a screen that is not a thing, but the right under where the square is, where the canoe and the magic rope is, those things under there are all passive items. They just work. And then, of course, you got whatever's equipped, your chainmail, night shield, and then you can change weapons, of course, between the axe and then the longsword, which you need right now, because in the in this level here, everything's pretty nasty. So
well, like you said, we're going to find out. You may only be able just to have one of each.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do now, though, is I'm getting all the way out of here. Wait, what's this? Oh, it's the old dungeon. I forgot about that. It's Dungeon 3. So I got to get out of here. It's bad without the audio. I'm gonna have to fix that tomorrow.
Yeah. No, that's half the experience. Oh, I thought I'd also mention too. Y'all aren't saying things of like wonder why I have like white around my eyes. Like wearing sunglasses and doing yard work, and I don't know, under light my skin's gonna look better anyways. And after I'm in the yard or I get out of the shower, so it's just weird like seeing myself. But so what's interesting about games with grinding? So I know back in the day, especially for RPGs and all that, it's kind of like a fun, as long as it's not obscenely too much, it's kind of fun because it's relaxing. It's kind of like a break. You don't really have to think about, what do I go next? Or I have to beat this dungeon. You can just kind of chill. And then it's rewarding because you get the levels, or you get the XP. And I was going to say, I know probably kids today, they probably don't have the patience for it. But I'm kind of torn. Well, I was going to say, would I rather do that, or would I rather have it be Anguna, to where you have to find the secret power-ups? But actually, this game they do both. You have to find the hidden items, where you were throwing those ropes and all that. Like,
Yeah.
does some dude in a cave even give you clues? Like, how would you know that? That seems a little crazy. That's even like,
Oh, where to throw the ropes?
yeah.
So there is a little bit, and I can get to a section where you can use those. So I can show you. There is a little bit of a cheat. Well, not a cheat, but like a clue that the game gives you. So let me see.
Okay. Because I was like, you'd have to have like psychic ability. You know, like even in like the OG Zelda, you could at least test bombs, but you knew that like where they were going to be. I was like, how did you know to put the rope between that little like crack to climb up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, it's 130 horns for magic oil in this place, so it's a little cheaper.
What does the feather do?
Feather gets you out of a dungeon. If you use it while you're in a dungeon, it just gets you to the start.
You know, I should have known that like from Dragon Warrior Wings.
Yeah,
but that's what you were telling me. But like off camera, you're gonna try to find like the cheapest store. Yeah, I don't blame you. Because
once you do it, you're done, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it.
Well, if you die, you lose half your life. Oh, we have someone. I apologize if I say your
What's
name.
Up, Lloyd?
Okay, I'm gonna say Lloyd. Yeah, Lloyd. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we're just actually, just in a second here, I can show you because there's one of those rope places right around the corner here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch to this. I'm gonna go in here because I forget what this is. Oh, he's the guy. He's the guy that tells you to go get the rope thing.
Can I have your clues? You know what's funny? I keep wanting you to use the torch to burn those down, like in Zelda.
Oh yeah. Oh, nice 5 drops. So I can already afford, if I can find it. There's a shop that sells the golden apple for 40 horns.
Ooh,
which would be awesome. So I already have one. So all right. So I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me actually put myself in spotlight.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you should save up. We should save up 80 horns and then go there so you can buy 2.
There we go. Spotlight. All right. So because I'm a little bigger now. So if you can see the pixels, right, where I'm standing here, and then where I'm standing right here, you can tell that there's like a little bit of a divot right above my head.
Yes. Oh, I see. Okay.
That's where the rope goes.
Wow.
So you can see it, like you can see the pixels. I wonder if there's actually something here.
So let me ask you this, because like like Zelda, since you have the complete thing, like came with that extra like book that said don't open unless you get desperate. Do they?
Yeah.
They're like somewhere in the instruction booklet? Do they tell you that? Do they say like look for a different pattern? Like I'm just like putting myself in the mindset of like we're teens or preteens trying to figure like how would we know without asking a friend, or wouldn't you? Because now that you pointed that out, I see it, but I never would have known to look there unless I knew to look there. you know what I mean? Like wow,
that's not cool. The guy just robbed me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you better pay up. I'm like, why? What'd you guys? Oh.
That's where it's almost like save state.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't be doing that. I'm trying to save up my horns.
Yeah.
Stealing them from me.
Are there any dudes that give you the opposite, like like in Zelda? You find those guys.
There's a couple that you find, and then it's like like, oh hey, thanks for finding me. Gain 50.
Need more of those.
Yeah. I'm trying to save those one-offs for like the end.
Yeah. So here's something crazy. Kind of talking about Master System renting me a Game Gear that I like. I don't know if y'all watching sometimes do this. Like sometimes I'll be like, would it be cool to have like a modded Game Gear? Or would it be cool to have like a modded TurboGrafx? Like sometimes I'll just kind of do that for the fun of it. Look at prices, see how things are like usually like too out of reach, sometimes not. But what's interesting, that actually like on Etsy is really cool. It has like a lot of that stuff, and for like $300, you can get a fully modded, like it's like a cool shell, the screen, like recapped, new buttons and everything, USB-C charging, and it even has like some like customized batteries.
Oh yeah.
They're like in the shape, and you can plug it in. And they even said that like if your phone supports it, you could use your phone to charge it. And so then like sometimes my brain goes to, well, if you have a library already, then you could. They did make an adapter where you could play Master System games if you could find it, or like just imagine having like a flash card, and then you could play like all the Game Gear and all the Master System games, and because like something like emulation like that wouldn't be too daunting, and it would be on real hardware. Like the only thing missing from that experience, and missing from that experience, would just be like having it out to the TV. But I don't know, like to me though, I think like for me, like portable devices that were always portable, it's fine playing them portably. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if I need a TV out, but then I was like, imagine like being able to play this like in a Game Gear is like incredible.
That would be awesome, right?
Yeah. So I don't, that's where my mind goes. Like I was just thinking like how awesome that would look like straight down like in a IPS screen. But yeah, it's for me, it's like fun to see like for like modified system, what people are doing. Like for right now, like nobody's like modifying TurboGrafx, but you can get like that optical drive add-on that's like like Castlevania games or one of those Stone Age gamers. So they're like $300, but then you also have to find like just a piece, like a PC engine to fit it, and that's like another 150. So spendy stuff, but it's just sometimes it's fun to fantasize. It's like if you like look at like those like cards that like cost like $1,000 all in box. Sometimes for me it's fun to fantasize and look at that, and then you're like, yeah, I don't really need to own it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's just like sometimes it's fun just to like live like vicariously through other people. I mean, that's why we all like, well, one of the reasons I like watching other channels and stuff. It's why I love like watching you like like play play this, because then it's like you get I feel like you get to just like enjoy the experience and all that. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, and then for me too, the reason why I'm playing specifically this one is because, like I remember vividly playing this game, growing up, and then getting to the point where I'm like, I don't even know what to do. And when you're at that point, you get stuck like that. Yeah, it's another 130. It's interesting because like so many years later, you have the internet, and you can get guides and maps and all that kind of stuff, and you're like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm going back and I'm finishing this game, right? I did that with just recently in the last 2 years. I did it with Phantasy Star. I did it with Miracle Warriors. And there's nothing like like getting that nostalgia hit of playing a game that you knew you grew up with, and at the same time playing a game and beating it, right? And you never got the chance to do it when you were growing up. That's totally cool. So like finishing this one is going to be awesome. Like I can't wait to like be recording the moment when I finish this game, and I've never finished it at all, right? That's going to be awesome. Like I can't wait for that.
Yeah, there's it's funny. There's because I know what I'm trying to think, because I know there's some games that like it's like you've beaten that are fun to play over again, and something you've actually like never completed but got. Yeah, I've done. I've done that. Like what was it like the after Castlevania, like the 5th Castlevania, like Vampire's Kiss, or it wasn't as popular or wasn't as good, but like I played that in emulation, but. No joke, I'm glad that I played that on RetroArch because it has a rewind feature. And as you all know, with Castlevania, is like once you get hit by something, you fly back a million feet. Well, it's the only Castlevania where you fight Dracula and you have to like jump across pits. And
oh yeah,
it could be. So that game would have been like extremely frustrating. Like that is like a great example. I was glad to play in emulation, because playing that like on real hardware without using that rewind feature or save states. Like as an adult, where you don't have like a limited time, like a kid, would have been a nightmare. To your point. So it's like,
absolutely
for stuff like that. But I know what you like. So what's interesting? So I've sort of done similar to what you've done. Like sometimes like played a game, put it aside like for a long time, and then gone back and just like beaten it. Like all of you are watching, or you can tell me. I don't know if you've heard of it's kind of an obscure title for the Super Nintendo called Young Merlin.
I've never heard of that.
So it's weird. It's kind of like, think of a kind of point and click style game, but it's not point and click. But kind of think of it as like it's kind of not really an RPG, kind of action adventure, but kind of think of it as like a Dizzy game in the effect of where you have to get items.
Got it. Yeah.
It's but like actually not as hard as Dizzy. It's a weird. I think it was one of those ones I bought. When I was a kid, it was like $20. It was one of those cheaper games, probably, and like sitting down, you could beat it. Like when you know what to do, you could beat it in a couple of. Ooh, you found it.
Magic oil for 70 horns.
Ooh, okay. No, it's a magic feather for 40. But still, that's.
But no, like magic oil for 70 horns.
You need that.
It's almost 50% off.
Yeah, Cool.
So
Let's do that at 39.
now I've got a magic oil.
See if you can buy a second one.
It would let me if I had the horns.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna grind.
Yeah.
And get the horns.
That's exciting.
That is exciting.
But anyway, so I think that game. I don't know if there was. I don't know if there was even. There might have been passwords actually. But at least when you died, like you could start back at a level. Anyways, it was just kind of like it was, but it also had like puzzle elements. It was very weird. And to make a long story short, it was one of those games where like the ending was just like really, really frustrating. Maybe there weren't passwords. I don't know. And I think that after a while, I put it aside, and then I either resumed from the start. I think I just played it all through from the beginning, and then kind of like beaten it. But it was still as a kid, but it might have been like a year or so later because it's just one of those frustrating things. Again, kind of cool having the physical media. You see that game like lying on a shelf, and you're like, "Do I want to play this again?"
Yeah.
And then you go ahead and do that.
All right, so it's time to reset for sure. All right, what do we got here? Ooh, they were full of all sorts of meat.
Sorry, there we go.
Okay, it's all good.
Directed by the young one, but yeah. So I mean, as an adult, well, like some game, like that started as a kid, but like Symphony of the Night, never played that. Heard that was like the different one of the Castlevania. Played it on played it on RetroArch and had fun. And actually, my buddy told me to play that. I'm like, dude, this game was kind of short. And he's like, have you gotten to the Upside Down Castle?
Like, yeah.
Then it extended it another 5 hours. But again, that,
well, of course, yeah.
That's a game with either save points without save states. But so I don't know. Probably one of these days, like the Super Nintendo, might try to play through. But then again, but it's kind of funny with that because like in GBA, I have like the Super Nintendo version of Zelda. Started it, love it. I haven't played through it again. So yeah, I just kind of have to be like in the right mood. But anyway, that was a long roundabout way of saying like I totally get you have a game that's complete from your childhood. You have the physical copy, and you want to play it again. Like if I had picked up like Final Fantasy 3 or like Chrono Trigger, I could totally totally relate. Like that would be just epically awesome. I wonder is that OBS putting that image? Like I wonder, can you change that?
Oh, it was me. It was me doing that.
Is your camera doing that, or is that built into OBS?
It's built into StreamYard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I shut off the camera because
I wonder if you could change that.
My wife had to come in and grab something real quick.
Yeah. No, I wonder if you could set an image. Like how like Ryan.
Oh yeah, you know what? I think you can do that actually. Yeah. I should look at that.
Yeah, at least you could set it to be like the Master System logo. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or whatever fun weird character. Because what I was thinking, because I know in StreamYard, when you turn off the virtual camera, I know it'll put that image up here, and you can say, no, but this is cool though, just talking about random stuff, being able to grind to get done what you need. So close to 70 horns.
Yep. And then so then this will be the test. Can we get to magic oils? And if I can, then I'm just going to get them.
Yep.
And then it's all about the golden apples. And apparently there's supposed to be another place where you can get a golden apple for 40 horns, but I think it's actually later in the game, so I might not actually physically have access to it because I don't have the thing that allow me to go into the water.
Yeah.
I can go into light water like this because I have the canoe.
Yeah.
But I can't go into anything else.
Yeah.
So the other thing too, as we're going through doing this stuff, is if anyone has any kind of impromptu topics or whatever, I'm down for that.
Yeah, chat. Bring it on.
Yeah, why not, right?
What else is interesting, which is funny because seeing things through a kid's eyes. If we were kids, we'd be like, we've got time, we'll grind it up. As an adult, it's I know my reflexes aren't as good. I need the items. Is there a sequel to the game? It looks
yeah. It's funny you mention that because the answer is yes. And does it look like Adventures of Link? The answer is also yes. Oh no, don't get hit. Oh no, I got hit. All right. Get that guy out of there real quick. The game is Axe Battler, The Legend of Golden Axe on the Game Gear. That's the game right there. and it plays just not exactly like Zelda 2 Adventures of Link, but it does play very similarly to that game. There are moments where you have the top down back and forth, and then you also have the side scrolling action sides, which is pretty cool.
You know what you might have to do, Rich, and you can feel good about yourself since you have the physical copy. Is that I know with the Retron, like you can like patch it and, because it's designed to patch like IPS games. Like if you wanted to translate Java, you can patch any game and play it as a ROM.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it would work loading it as a ROM. Because some like just like how like the Retron and some other devices like it'll load the ROM file, but it won't load from physical media for whatever reason. Because I was going to tell people that's
you mean like
the downside.
If I put the ROM, if I somehow found a ROM,
yeah,
and then I put the ROM on there,
yeah,
and then yeah, you're right. I mean, I own the game, so like I don't think that would be like a, that's not like, it'd be kind of using backup ROMs for exactly the purpose. You own the game, and you want to play it, but it's not letting you.
Because as we know, speaking of those Game Gears, Pete got one.
Yep.
When I was,
He
tried it, and we know that it works. So I'm pretty sure your card's good. Since two cards don't work on this, it's
here's the test. Truth. I already have it.
Oh.
You can only have one.
Okay.
You can only have one. So I just need 20 more horns, and I can get myself a golden apple. Yeah. So it's one apple, one oil. So I kind of get that, right? They don't want you just loading up and rolling up on a boss in a dungeon and just keep getting your life back over and over again. So I kind of get that.
Yeah, they won't even let you have two. It's like, but I'm glad you did it this way first, and so had to grind out like 130 and then 130 again. It's like, man.
Yeah, I would have been mad about that.
You know what? It's funny because it could either be that, or maybe it could have been like due to inventory limitations. They just wanted to make sure that you have like all the items, and maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd like to think it's for the reason that you mentioned, to make the game harder. But I want to.
I mean, it literally could have been like a programming issue though, because if you let somebody buy more than one, like what's the limit? 2? Do you set it at 2? Do you do you set it at whatever? And then like at that point, the programmer's probably just like, no, you just 1. You've got it. You're good.
You know what else? I know they didn't want to like rip this off of Zelda, but I'm like, it would have been cool if you could like shoot your sword or shoot something if you have full health.
That would be cool. I would like because the other enemies are able to at the casino game. So the other enemies are able to throw things at you, like throw projectiles at you, and the only projectile you have is magic if you've equipped it. But yeah, in a physical battle, I would love for me to be able to, throw a weapon or something like that.
What's interesting is they have the little dudes like throwing like spears, and I'm like, why can't you throw something? What I mean?
Like exactly, like throw your axe as a boomerang or something like that, because you have full health. You're strong enough to do that, right? But if you get hit, you can't do it anymore. I would like that'd be awesome.
That would be totally.
I mean, I also get it. Like somebody probably would have gotten angry. Somebody over Nintendo probably was angry about this whole thing existing.
Yeah. Well, they definitely made this harder than Zelda. It seemed just by by.
Oh yeah, no, there's no question this game is more difficult to get through than Zelda. There's absolutely no question about that in my mind. And it's because like there are ways to get through Zelda, and you can get there without needing specific items, and you can get by just getting through your dungeons.
Yeah.
And you can almost go through them in any order. I mean, there's a preferred order, but you can almost get through the game in any order.
Yeah.
But with this, no, you've got to go through each dungeon in order, because if you don't, you're not going to have enough equipment to get it done. Let's see here. We got to go through this way. You can't go through that way. All right. I
Yeah,
wonder what
that's what
that
I mean.
means.
I'm missing the sounds of music too. Oh wow.
Yeah, right. And it's so funny because I mean I've got it stranded. I'm gonna have to probably reset my computer for tomorrow. You know what? I want to explore this. Now that I have the axe, it'll probably let me get through it. I want to go through the little islands.
Oh, so while we're talking about this, so here's one other topic, and this would really like really like bother me. Imagine, let's say, if like you pre-ordered something, and I'll get to why I'm bringing this. Like, let's say something like the VS Founder Edition, and you're waiting, and you're tracking it, and you're probably like me, where like your life is on hold, and like I'm like watching out the window in the office because as soon as it gets dropped off, I want to pick it up, and then you get a notification that says it's delivered, but it never shows up.
Oh
Like,
no!
yeah.
I'd be
So,
mad.
well, the reason I bring that up because Matt Little Pixel did a video about this in the Steam Deck where somebody posted to the Steam Deck subreddit, and they said
Yeah.
they had that happen. Like they were tracking it and everything, and then it didn't show up. And the thing that he was talking about, he was saying like these delivery guys, after a while, they get to know like what the box. I mean, I think it has like it doesn't say Steam Deck, but it says like precious electronics or something like sensitive electronics, and they
Sure.
have to put like the bad. But I think after a while, like the delivery guys, like they kind of get the weight of things. And he was saying like when he got his PS5, that his delivery person, like they kind of knew what it was. And so it's and so here's the bad thing. I mean, so the good thing is the individual, they got their money refunded and all that, and because I guess Valve can claim the insurance. But here, and this part would make me angry. So they got a refund, but they said, oh yeah, you can go ahead and reorder the Steam Deck, but you're now to the back of the queue. But maybe it's a supply issue. So imagine that, like, so it's like you would have it, but because like the driver, like allegedly, let's say took the pack, allegedly took the package or whatever. Now you have to wait in the back of the queue. It's like
that would burn me up. I'd be pretty hot about that.
Yeah. And so it's just a reminder with some of these like retro devices and gaming devices, because they're for like a niche market and because chip shortages and all that. It's like once you get it, like be happy. It's not it's not like some retro system that said it's been out there in a while. Like if you really want it and you look hard enough, you can get another Super Nintendo without probably without having to pay like crazy amounts of money. Yeah, it may not be modded, but try to get something like an Analog Pocket, a Steam Deck. You can't get the VSs. Even the VSs now people are starting to get. So it's nutty, right? So that's
yeah. I mean, it's so even in a case like where it's not like a loss by way of somebody taking, like or it could even be somebody like how wild would that be if the launch of the Steam Deck was this past what is it, October or November or whatever. Oh no, it was early September. Like what if it was then, right? And then you're me, and like what if the delivery date was the day before the storm?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh well, I got this thing, and there's the chip shortages, and we have to wait for all this stuff, but I don't get to have mine because it's gone. Like that would just burn me up.
Yeah, so it's crazy because then it reminded me, what was it? I'm a long way, like 4 or so, whenever Christmases ago when I got a PS4. Actually, something kind of similar happened to me. Like I think like Sam's had a special, and I think it was like $200, but it was like no games, one controller. I think it wasn't like the terabyte drive. And it so happened to be that like it was the time like my Ring doorbell was charging. I went to get the mail and come back, and it said it was delivered. And I think I found out later on that they actually, like, it says PS4, but we were able to get our money back. And actually, it worked out better because I was able to like get for just like a little bit more. I think for like $50 more, actually get like the terabyte, get like a better version. And we weren't going through these chip shortages. It wasn't unique. You know what I mean? Like I was just able to reorder it. Otherwise, me and my daughter would have been upset for Christmas. Yeah. So here's the thing with that. The Analog Pocket has been a pain. So here's what's funny, and what also drives me to, let's say, like look at like modded like Game Boys and Game Gears and all that. And this is just me personally. Like, I don't need I don't need an FPGA that can play every single little thing and that requires firmware updates. For me personally, I would rather have like a modded Game Gear or like a modded GBA that I know I'll never have to update, that'll just work. And if I needed to, I could pop in a flash cart and play all those games and not have to, you know what I mean? Like not have to,
Mhm.
like that's just like for me, I would rather just have the specific device because, like in a case, something like, like Master System especially, like that game, like that would just be difficult to play on a modern TV, let alone if you could find one modded, that would just cost like, probably at least $500. I'm making up numbers, but
Right.
you know what I mean. And so yeah, it's a painful wait, and so it's kind of interesting because even like with the Poly Mega, you still like Rich, you're still waiting on that, right?
Yep. Yeah, and it won't be until I think June or July at the earliest is what the indication was for our order. But there have been people that are still in that line, 2019, early 2020, late 2020, still haven't gotten theirs. So
yeah.
So who knows? Maybe mine doesn't show up until next year.
And so for me, it's like I get like you have a specific purpose. Like for you want to get the Poly Mega specifically just so you can play like those, Saturn games, like those RPGs. Like that makes sense. So for me, like I kind of dabble in between, like because either you go on the lower end like you did with the Retron and you can play different things, which is great, or when you get to that level, if you want to get beyond CD, there's so many like mods and all that. Then for me, then I get to a point where if I'm going to invest that time and money, then I'd rather just get something, let's say like a Mister. But then I don't want to have the curse of emulation and have too many too many choices. You know what I mean? So that's why for me, that's why like for now I stick with something like Evercade or like GBA, or if I want to get like sticking to more niche things, because even if you do go with a flash cart, at least it's not 50,000 games. Maybe it's like 1,000 games at the most. Probably you could narrow it down to a few hundred. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just overwhelming. Oh, Lloyd, he did mod his GBA.
Nice. Yeah, you want the analog for Game Gear. Yeah, knowing that the analog has had that thing for Game Gear is one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I don't know if I'd still want one for Game Gear, because I got the 3-in-1 adapter on the Retron, right? And so I'm covered.
Yeah, so that's
except for Axe Battler, which is the one I want to play. But
yeah, I know. See, that's my issue with just any type of clone systems, even some systems that are FPGA, is that they can't play they can't play either like some of those games with chips or like modern, let's say, or like reimagined or homebrew games, and that just, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that just always irritates me. I'm like, can I just I don't care if it's FPGA or emulate, can I just buy a system that can 100% play every card? If it, I don't mind if it so there's like the few that have like that crazy FX chip, sure, I guess, but even then it kind of sucks. If that's
Yeah. I have my gamer back on. Yeah, I can't bring myself to mod it. Yeah, I mean, those things are. That thing is got to be such a bear once you open that thing up. I would be scared,
dude. I'm like
those things open.
Not only that, but like Macho Nacho Productions or Tito. Yeah, he does his channel as mods and everything, and he's a pretty fairly experienced modder. And for some of these, like that one, I think you have to do mod. You actually have to mod a thin ribbon cable from the CPU, and he even says advanced modding skills. So it's like he makes it look easy, but definitely like a GBA replacement, it's a drop in. You solder one wire, which I wouldn't be 100% comfortable doing yet, but Game Gear, yeah, it's you really have to. Yeah, I don't blame you when you're going to want to recap it, and you have to have some way to desolder. It's a whole thing, so it's like you have to have the equipment and have skills, and totally load. Like you don't want to practice that on your childhood Game Gear. Yeah, I would be mad if I messed.
Yeah, and I think that actually makes it worth the money that they ask on your eBay or Etsy or whatever for those services that they do those mods for the Game Gear. I mean, they're pretty expensive. $250, $300 for some of these things, but when you think about the work that actually needs to get put inside of the device, it actually winds up making it worth it if you are that dedicated to wanting a modded handheld. So what I waited for the Pocket for almost 2 years, you can do it. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of us waiting for a lot of things, right?
So, what's funny about that? If somebody, let's say, if they just had the base analog pocket with the Game Gear adapter, and they said, "Hey, straight up, I'll trade that to you for your PS4 and like your two controllers or whatever." You know, I don't. I'm sure a PS4 still holds. I'm sure. I think that still is at least worth probably like $300. I mean, mine's like the Call of Duty edition. I have the
Yep.
box, so it's like
Yep.
I would do like maybe do a straight up trade for that because I don't play it as much. I wouldn't do a trade versus scalper price. Like maybe I would do that, but it's just
Yeah.
having to wait. I don't know. I'm the kind of person where the hype is now. You know what I mean? Like I've talked the hype is now. I'm like looking forward to stuff. It's just I don't know. I lose and gain interest in something, and it's like, well, that's great waiting 2 years, but what are you going to do between? What are you going to do between then? You know what I mean? Then it's like
Yeah.
you double dip and spend that money again, which is gross. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's for me. I would probably consider like a modern day system trade for something like a modded older console or a modded older handheld. Like that's upgraded for more modern thing. Like say for example, someone out there decided that they wanted to do an HDMI compatible upscaler in television, right? Like an original in television, but somehow they got it in there and they modded the output where it outputs HDMI, gives you a nice clean signal, but everything else works exactly like original television. They were like, all right, 300 or your PS4 or Xbox or something like that. I think I would just make that trade.
And dude, I totally don't blame you because so here's some other thing which is just kind of weird and why I look at like modified GBAs and let's say Game Gears because for me, so like having an analog pocket, as beautiful and awesome as its screen, there's no nostalgia in it, right? It's just it's a means to play, and yes, it's very cool. But having like that modded Game Gear or let's say like Pocket, Neo Geo or something else, like to me that is even cooler. Yes, you can't play as many games, but the nostalgia of that, like, hey, it's modern times. I can see the screen. Like to me, I think that's neater, even though those are more expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think the next Evercade handle needs to add extra buttons below the D-pad to be able to play arcade mode Link style? Oh, like so you can actually like tilt it to play in that vertical.
Like the Wonder Swan. Yeah, first they need to do that. First they need to actually make it so you can tilt it.
That would be kind of cool. I mean, and tilting it is easy in the firmware. You just have a toggle. You just have a toggle in the menu and just orient the screen literally the other way. But it would cut off. You would only do it for those arcade games, though, right? And if you wanted to do it the most convenient way for the end user, you'd program just the ROMs that would need that, just the arcade ROMs that would be that vertical compatibility. Because you wouldn't want to give the flip to every single game. It wouldn't make any sense.
That's what I was going to say. Like there'd be two options. You could manually toggle it, and to your point, or you could say auto toggle for vertical games. So that way, like you put in Burger Time, boom, it's all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that might make people mad though. It starts at auto vertical. Like I don't want to play it like that. I want to play it the other way.
But I mean, you could choose though. You could choose
glasses.
Yeah, but I mean, you could choose the auto toggle vertical games, like only the vertical games. So like,
yeah,
it would toggle Burger Time, but if you played like Tanzer, it would be fine. You know what I mean? Or like because RetroArch can do it, and that was or even just I wouldn't even be happy with a manual toggle that would just say vertical or horizontal, and then it remembered like when you shut it off, either it resets or remember. I'd be happy just with that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because. Yeah, it's like I agree, Ian. It'd be cool to have those extra buttons, but some of those games, like Centipede or something, you only use one button, so it doesn't really, it doesn't really matter which one you have to press. While it may not be ideal, it would still work.
Yeah.
That's it.
So anyway, so that's cool. I think for me, I'm to a good place. I have successfully, as we were chatting, I'm just gonna flip back. Real quick, as we were chatting, I was successfully able to obtain both some magic oil and a golden apple, and I still have 20 horns for the purposes of staying at that inn, should I choose to do so, which is pretty awesome. So this is a great, and I went and saved.
Ooh.
So great success for tonight.
Hey, Rich. So I have another. If you even wanted to grind up more, so here's another thing that you could possibly do. But I
Yeah.
would use save states if we're testing it. I think remember you figured out that if you buy or you get like I wonder if you could have a golden apple and then keep one in your inventory.
Oh yeah, have it like
Because
held.
yes, yeah, have one held because then what you could do is you could just run to the next, run to the next level Indiana Jones style, like there's the boulder, and just like who cares if you get hit? Then you get to the level and then you get full life and then you still have your extra one in your inventory.
Oh,
But
I mean,
I would like save state or save before doing that because then
right? Yeah, of course.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you can have one and then buy one if it would overwrite it, but I don't know. That's what I was thinking. Like if you because then when you get there, you want to have full life and you want to have full
Mm-hmm.
like magic.
Well, and for me, what I would do is I would do that to make sure, like getting to the end of the dungeon, I'd do that to make sure that I could get through the dungeon. The only good thing about it is I've done dungeon 4 already, so I know most of the enemy patterns. I should be able to, even with 2 and a little bit of a heart less, I should be able to get to dungeon 4 and get through all of the dungeon, including picking up bread on the way, to get to the end. So I'm not too concerned about the golden apple. The thing I am concerned about is this dungeon forces you to use magic. So there's a time where you're using your thunder spell just to get through different parts of the dungeon, and that hurts for me because you can't go. You have to be able to open the doors and preserve magic to be able to get through the battle, and that's the thing that bums me out.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to be okay on life. I was just really worried about magic, but at the same time, the golden apple is going to help because if I get in the fight and I'm like doing really well, but it's like almost ready to just get taken out, I can burn the apple and get my life back and get back into the fight so I can finish it and then get out of there. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm pretty happy about that.
Oh,
So
bring up Ian's question.
it's also a question of
We're allowed to talk about Evercade since he brought it up.
yeah,
So,
how much arcade games is Blaze going to release in the future? I mean, yeah, I guess you're right about that. I mean, there's no way that they don't have designs on releasing, like at least half as many or as many arcade collections as they do regular collections. But I will say this though, it is in the eye of the consumer though. If the consumers do not purchase outside of the bundles these arcade carts for whatever reason, and I completely don't believe that this is the case, but if people decide, hey, you know what, I'm not going to buy these arcade carts, but I'll keep buying those other collections, maybe you won't see as many arcade collections moving forward. I'm not saying that that's the case. In fact, I think it's complete opposite, right? People were all over these arcade collections as soon as they announced the VS, and that's what got everyone hyped up. All these other bigger channels that came in and flocked to the VS. All of a sudden, when the Evercade has been going and killing it for a year plus, by that time, I think the arcade is going to be the big splash, and then you're going to see a lot more arcade carts for sure. But they already had a lot of deals in the pipeline, so they could get these other collections out. And
so before I answer, because I can't hold this laugh. Okay, so because I'm, if you wonder why I'm laughing, because I'm weird. So maybe like a lot of you are not like, I really like Weird Al, and I've been listening to his Spotify list. And so here's how my brain works. When you said "I the consumer," it made me think of "I the tiger," and he has a song where where it's a parody of that. And it goes like, "Is it the roll or the Kaiser?" So sorry.
Yes.
So that's why nice. That's where my brain was when you said "I the customer." That my brain went to that and made me immediately crack up.
That's awesome.
But so what I like your question. So, and keep in mind that we don't. This is just our predictions. We don't have any insider knowledge or anything. I know sometimes people like think we do. So this is so here's what I predict. So we got 4 collections technically last year of arcade, even though all at once. So I predict maybe we'll get another 4. And here's what I think they're going to do, because companies like Galeco Collection, like they're very willing to license. And if you look at the IR Arcade, which it's kind of like the arcade version of Evercade, there's like Thunder Hoop 2, like, they have like a lot of those same games on that system that you can get here. So we'll probably see that. We know Data East is more than willing to, they're pretty cool with licensing. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got like a Data East Collection 2. Not sure what would be on it. We got a Gyoko
Right.
Collection 2. And then would we get an Atari Collection 2? What would be on that?
Well, I'm going to say this right now.
Yeah.
If they put out an Atari arcade collection, anything else, and hard driving is not on that cart, I'm an upset man. Because I'm telling you, they could do it. There's no way that the Evercade cannot run that game. Just give it to them. I mean, but I will say this, right? If they try to do it, I'm sorry to whoever has to program the controls, because programming the controls to make that work outside of it being in its own cabinet is a nightmare. So kudos to whoever, technical wizard might be able to do that. But I still personally will be upset if hard driving is not on a cart, because I just want to play it so bad in a good form, because the amazing amount of fiddling you have to get, because I did it in MAME. I tried to get it working in MAME. I got it working so good in MAME, even though my playthrough, I had to use 2 different keyboards. I had my foot on the floor to actually emulate the gas pedal, and then another keyboard on the desk, plus the mouse and the mouse roller, just to make the game work. And then I submitted to Twin Galaxies, and for I don't know, like 5 years, I had the high score in the MAME version of hard driving.
That's awesome.
I had the record, and then somebody came and I guess like looked at it and was like, "Oh, I could do this better," and then spent more time capturing their footage, and they took my score, and I was like, darn it. But
that would be great. Like Space Invaders would even be, would be even fun to play.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's Taito, but yeah, I mean, So, right. but any of the other Atari games would be cool. There's enough out there for another collection for sure.
What about like a Technos 2? Like what I'm trying to think of what else they would. I think there's some other games.
Technos 2. I'm not sure. I mean, beyond that, some of those obscure, one-off arcades, that I think was it Ian that might have suggested it, or somebody said something about like what would be cool would be like indie, like, oh, there it is. Yeah. You release some arcade games as well. It'd be interesting. Yeah, that's the comment that I was looking for. That'd be cool to have like an Indie Heroes arcade, right? Have like these weird, obscure, one-off companies that had made arcade games all through the years and put that in. Oh man, that'd be awesome, right?
They could take stuff from like the iArcade that has some of that kind of cool, weird stuff. Like I don't know if Sydney Hunter really isn't like an arcade game. I mean that's on there, but like that would be really neat.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, I mean, Lloyd, I agree with you. I hope they would settle that Namco license too for the VS, because I mean, it would just be really cool. But I'm telling you, in my speculation, I put my speculation hat on right now. I'm thinking it's because there is on both collections, there is a game or a set of games that they couldn't license for the TV model, right? The hook to TV model, console, I guess, because of whatever reason. They had it an exclusive with XYZ company or whatever. But I almost guarantee you, because now the Namco collections are going to cycle out, they can slot them back in as VS compatible later by signing a deal, but those games aren't going to be on there, which will make the other carts rarer. So if you had the other carts to use them in your handheld, then you get the cool games. I'm going to say right now, though, if I were to speculate which titles are those titles, it would make people very sad. Because I'm thinking of Namco 2.
What do you think?
Namco Collection 2, I am almost sure that the Splatterhouses are part of that hitch and the giddy up. And on Namco Collection 1, it's weird because there's so many titles that have been literally everywhere on this collection, so I don't understand why it wouldn't happen.
So Ian's going. So he was saying an Namco arcade. So I see. I was kind of thinking along those same lines too. Where it's like because things like Wartman console only, the Splatterhouses, that would make sense. So what they could do is have Namco Arcade, which would have all the arcade versions of Namco 1 and 2 collection in an arcade. Have your Pac-Man, have your Mappy, have your Galaxian, and all that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, most of that stuff is in an arcade cabinet. Yeah. So yeah, you could do that. You could do it
the license
and get it done.
That's licensed everywhere. So I think it wouldn't surprise me. Which actually I just saw a Sega Lord X video. I think he was saying that at least the North American version of Splatterhouse 2, I think that go for like $400. It's a spendy title. It's it's one of the more popular ones. So that's a good reason to get that collection alone for the Splatterhouses. They're fantastic.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. So yeah. So anyway. I have to roll because it is time for me to hit the sack and drop my controller.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know we're at the top of the hour here.
but yeah, no, yeah, I gotta get to bed because the work week is just gonna consume me. But this has been fun. It was awesome. So for those that are on the bacon ice cream side of things. They come in and hang out with me over there. Tomorrow's video is going to look a lot like today's video because this one's going to get downloaded and actually cut. I'm going to cut I might even do an intro and actually edit for tomorrow. I'm not sure. It just depends on how much time I have. But I'm going to cut out the Master System portion of this vid and then that'll get syndicated over on that channel. But in the same thing, I will do a bumper at least because I want to make sure that people that are watching on Bacon Ice Cream Productions channel you realize this one exists and you can come over here and hang out and subscribe.
I like that they can go to your channel for the Master System goodness, and if they want us to the extended version, they pop over here. Exactly. I like that.
So yeah. So hopefully everybody here had a good time, and expect probably more of these as we go along because the whole game and chat thing has been a cool thing with me and Ed, just like hanging in.
You know what? Because we got all serious, we forgot to roll the intro.
We did. It's all right. It's fine. This is how we roll on game and chat. It's just the cameras go on and we just start talking, and then my dog goes nuts. But yeah. So hey Chris, yeah, sorry you missed basically the show, but we're about to get out of here. Yeah, hit us up on the replay, and then like I said, if you stop by the channel over there, you'll see most of what happened tonight over on the other channel tomorrow. So yeah, awesome. Thanks, Ian. Good times as always for sure. And that's pretty much it. We'll catch you next time, right? And for sure it's 2 weeks, isn't it? Yeah. So we just did our episode last Tuesday, not this Tuesday, 29th of March. We will be back with somebody, I think.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. This doesn't count. Impromptus or just that. We'll be back with it.
Yeah, you never know when we're going to pop up on a play and chat. But
so be subscribed.
That's it. Yeah, you can get those notifications and you come on in.
Yep. And all I have to say is, well, we created content. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Calling all retro gamers. This concludes our broadcast day. Click.